Hi and welcome to today's episode of, I guess, me talking about books I'm looking forward to read. Autumn is my favorite season, and that's mostly because we're moving into, by now we're already in spooky season. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about my to be read list, which is mostly focusing now, of course, on books that are a little bit more in the, spooky, eerie, creepy segment of reading. But first things first, my body's currently in its flop era, meaning my breathing's a little wonky. We're gonna do our best, but we'll see how it goes. So without further ado, let's just get to it. So first up on my to be read is a book called Cemetery Boys. It's by Aidan Thomas, and I've actually started reading this since, we're in October now. I thought, it's fine, I'll start. So this is my current read, and it's about, I'm just going to read from the back, Yadriel, who has summoned a ghost, but now he can't get rid of him. And basically it's about Yadriel, who wants to gain his family's acceptance and to prove himself a real hero by summoning his cousin's ghost. But instead he accidentally summons a totally different ghost. I'm not going to go into it any deeper than that. But like I said, I've just started reading this, and I'd say this, I knew or assumed that this wouldn't be in the, horror category, but more of a spooky, cozy kind of read, which I actually love. So I thought this would be a good way to start the season, and I haven't gotten that far yet, but so far so good, and I'm really looking forward to finishing this one. Now, another book on my list is The Dangers of Smoking in Bed by Mariana Enriquez, and I've not started this yet. Ooh. Pushing through here, but I've read some other things she's written, and I think she has this ability to just capture and create this eerie feeling throughout everything I've read from her. So I'm really looking forward to this. I can't say because I haven't read it, but what I'm expecting here is, the type of spooky reading that kind of leaves you a little a feeling that lingers. I want to say in a good way, but I kind of want it to stay in a bad way, because I do want it to be a little scary. And I would say, from what I've written from her in the past, it's not gory, scary, or someone coming up with a knife scary, but just actually frightening to the bone scary. So can definitely recommend some of her other writing. Another book I have on my to be read is Small Town Horror by Ronald Malfi, and it says here that this novel is a Bram Stoker Award finalist. Now, I don't know, I should probably have Googled this beforehand. I don't know what the Bram Stoker Award is, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and assume it's an award for horror novels, I guess, which bodes well for this one. And it seems, I'm not gonna read from the back on this one because it's the description's quite long, but it seems to me that this could be just one of those classic, I don't want to say ghost stories because I don't think this has anything to do with ghosts, but more just a classic October read, basically. But it has something to do with coming home to, returning to an old town where you grew up and then finding out something isn't quite what it seems. And I say this half reading from the back, so if the author sees this and is wondering, what is she saying? I'm sorry, I'm making it up a little bit as I go along, but it's in there. You can Google it. I'm so excited about this one. Another book I'm excited about because I keep stumbling upon this as a recommendation, and it's The Bog Wife. I try to be careful about like, excuse me, about how much I read in terms of reviews on Goodreads. And I think part of that is because I don't want to stumble upon spoilers, but also I think sometimes the mood or the plot or whatever the story is about, I want it to be something that develops as I read. I don't necessarily want to know everything beforehand, and that's regardless of genre, but especially so when it comes to horror or just generally spooky reads. I find that knowing too much kind of spoils not just the story but also the fun. But it says here that, if I'm going to read a little bit from the back, so the author's name is Kay Chronister, and it says, Chronister has written the next Gothic classic destined to join the ranks of Daphne du Maurier and Shirley Jackson, but with a chilling genius all of her own. I absolutely love this book, and I think just hearing the word Gothic classic and the next, like, to me, I was like, that's all I need to know. Like, I'm very excited about this one. I haven't decided if this is the next book I'm going to read after Cemetery Boys, or if I'll just leave it to, you know, the closer we get to actually being near Halloween. But I'm very much a mood reader, so I'll take it as it comes. Another book that I have on my TBR is this one. It's called Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. And the reason I picked this and put it in my to be read is basically I figured that a novel called Such Sharp Teeth, to me that sounds perfect for spooky season, right? And it also says a little quote here on the front, an incredibly compelling read that's full of horror and heart. I don't know, that got me excited and interested. But this also seems to be about a person moving back to their hometown. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know if that's like a common trope in horror, but it seems just like moving back home when it's not something you want to do or have planned to do in your life feels like it inherently has some sort of, like, it comes with a bit of fear. Not necessarily fear as in, oh my god, that's so scary fear, but I guess fear of, you know, like what's happening with my life, is this where I want to be? And I felt that might set like a good tone, but also Such Sharp Teeth. I'm just gonna assume this is like a good spooky season read. But I will say that it says on the back that this starkly comedic love story is a brilliantly layered portrait of trauma, rage, and vulnerability. I haven't really read that much in terms of comedy when it comes to horror. I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm excited to find out. And that's my to be read for this October. Now, it's probably quite a few more books that I'm actually going to have time to read, but a girl can dream. So I'm just going to be optimistic, maybe a bit delusional, and we'll see how far I go. But I will say this, I do want to talk about some other books that I've already read, like previous years, and very much enjoyed. I just wanted to pass on a little recommendation, if you will. And the first one is, you recognize the name, Mariana Enriquez, whose other novel I already have in my to be read, and this is her Our Share of Night, which I found to be just such a beautifully written horror novel that unfolds during a long period of time. And I think this was such it's one of those stories that don't feel rushed, but it simmers along nice in a good tempo, where the horror kind of unfurls slowly, and you're constantly kind of waiting for what you think is the inevitable, but always with like this feeling of something not quite right simmering in the back. And I think this is one of my absolute all-time favorite reads. I cannot recommend this enough. Whether you're new to horror or you've read everything that's out there, if you haven't read this one yet, I can absolutely recommend this to anyone. I am in awe of her writing, and just don't miss this one. It's fantastic. And surprise, surprise, another one of her novels. But I really do want to recommend her writing. This is Things We Lost in the Fire. It's different bunch of short stories in here, and it's just such wonderful writing. If you feel that you're not quite in the mood for, a book as thick as this one, maybe start with this one. I will, however, say this will be worth your time 10 times over. So don't sleep on Mariana Enriquez. This is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. And some of you, or the only one of you who's watching, probably will say, well, this isn't really horror per se. And I'll say, well, I'll agree. This isn't necessarily like a book full of horror short stories, but they also come with that quality of just something doesn't feel quite right. And I think they set the mood like in a disturbingly nice way for spooky season. So while this, I wouldn't pitch this as like a horror novels book, but I will say this is an excellent read for the season. So enjoy. And last but not least, I wanted to share a book that I've heard people describe as body horror, which, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of. I don't know. I just it's like not my genre. But Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I personally did not think of it as body horror. I thought this was a beautiful, beautiful story about, I don't want to say horror, but like, actually, do you know what? I don't want to say too much about this one, because I was thinking of what to say and I felt myself like basically almost spoiling something, but let's just say I can read a little bit from the back so you kind of get the gist of it. When Leah finally returns after a deep sea mission that ended in catastrophe, her wife Miri knows that something is wrong. Whatever happened in that vessel stranded on the ocean floor, Lee has carried part of it with her. Onto dry land and into their home. As Miri searches for answer to her wife's altered state, she must face the possibility that a woman she loves is slipping from her grasp. So it's basically, you get to experience both Miri and Leah's perspective to find out what's going on at home, and also you get to follow along in the the vessel that's stranded on the ocean floor. And it's, I just thought this was just such a beautiful story. At times I just remember thinking, oh my god, what is happening? What is going on here? And just the feeling of, I think she really captures the feeling of isolation and the horrors that come with that, I'd say. But yeah, I think those are my recommendations, as well as my to be read for spooky season. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love some more recommendations and just your thoughts in general, like what are you reading for October, and what's your favorite horror novel? I would love to know. Thank you, and that's all for me. Bye.